Drake London, Jeff. He made the
Yeah.
NFL's top 100 list. And for those of you that don't know what that is, NFL players vote on the top 100 players in the league. So his peers around the NFL voted, and he ended up ranking 97th. It's his first appearance in the top 100. He's coming off a season of 100 catches, 1,300 yards, and 9 touchdowns. He ranked fourth in receiving yards. I didn't realize he was that high up there. Jeff, what do you think? Do you think that 97, does that feel too low for him?
So let's clear up a couple things as far as this the top 100 goes. So ask any NFL player. Majority of them don't vote in this. It's usually just whoever's in the facility the day that those come out. Guys will typically do it in between workouts and leaving the building. Um, I think these lists would look a lot different if the guys took them seriously and everybody voted. But nonetheless, I'm not trying to shit on Drake London, right? Because I am a big fan. And I put out a couple weeks ago after Kurt Benkirk didn't list the Falcons wide receiver room among his top 8. This was the third best room in football last year, despite all of the bullshit. And that room is led by Drake London. And yeah, I knew he was fourth because again, I put together that spreadsheet that I put out there on X. He, kind of going back to the Caden Ellis thing, Drake London might be the most underappreciated wide receiver, not on this team, but in the NFL period. If you ask guys to list their top 25 wide receivers, nobody's putting Drake London in that conversation, which blows my fucking mind. And so for me, he is absolutely one of the best 100 football players in the NFL. That's not even me, wearing a Falcons shirt or being a Falcons fan. That is me having eyes and watching this game. That dude from where he was as a rookie to where he is at right now is night and day. And he was decent as a rookie. And when I had put out there back right before he was drafted, because I leaked that information the morning of the draft that the Falcons were going to take him, people were pissed. Nobody east of the Mississippi knew who this kid out of Southern Cal was. Like nobody knew who you're familiar with his game because you're right down the street, but nobody out here was familiar with him at all. And of all the names that had gone around the Falcons were going to take, Drake London was not one of them. And so when I put that out there, of course, at the time I only had like 200 followers. So there were like 5 people who were pissed off. But nonetheless, like people out here were pissed when they called the name Mercedes-Benz. The people there for the draft party were booing. They were pissed. Like, who the fuck is this kid? And here we are. You fast forward 5 years. He is among the top 10 wide receivers in the NFL. He's absolutely a top 100 player. You look at some of the catches that he's starting to come down with, some of the balls he's starting to come down with. It's a little reminiscent of a former guy who retired here recently that used to wear number 11. I'm not telling you he's Julio. I'm not saying he's going to go on to even spark that type of run that Julio had of 6 straight years at 1,350 yards. That's not what I'm telling you. What I'm telling you is his body control is absolutely insane. The way he high points a football is very reminiscent of Julio Jones. And there are you watch a lot of young NFL wide receivers, that's a lost art among guys is high pointing the football. And he does an excellent job of that. His footwork is immaculate. His route running is can get better, but it's a lot better than it was 5 years ago. And so when you start looking at these lists, put some fucking respect on his name at this point. He's a top 10 wide receiver in the league. He was 4th last year in yards. He was, I think, top 6 in catches. Like, this is a dude who knows how to play the position. And the Falcons have a top 3 wide receiver room in production led by this man. He's absolutely a top 100. I would go maybe even top 75, but I'm happy that he's finally fucking getting some recognition and some love, according to some of his peers.
Jeff, I remember that draft very well. Even though Drake London was down the street, I honestly was kind of surprised we took him there 8 overall. I didn't know that he was going to be the best receiver on the board, but you look at all the other first round receivers, go back to 2022, look at it. There were 6 wide receivers drafted in the first round. Drake London was first, Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave, Jamison Williams, Jahan Dotson, and Treylon Burks. Jeff, we got the best one out of the bunch. I mean, you can make an argument with Garrett Wilson, fine, but I'll take London over Wilson.
I'll take London over Wilson every day of the week. And remember, coming into that draft, everybody thought it was going to be Olave, right? Everybody thought he was the number 1 wide receiver. And, there was talk here in Atlanta, from the people who hate me over there at 929 The Game, Mike Bell, eat shit, that Olave was going to be the guy, right? Like, No, like Olave was the guy. Like you had to go get him because of the plays that he made in college. And yet, when you took Drake London, there were a lot of really upset people. And I would even say rightfully so. That was not a name of the top 10, 15 people that everybody had associated with the Falcons. Drake London's name was not one of them. Nobody had Drake London coming to Atlanta. And then all of a sudden you hear his name in the top 10. You're like, what the fuck is going on? And now we look back and you're like, that was a really, really good draft pick. Like if you're going to go wide receiver, you absolutely went out and got the best one. And I agree with you. It's not even debatable.
I loved watching JMO in Alabama. Like I was really high on him on that draft too, and clearly like he's not looking like he's a reliable second, even a second option in Detroit. So I'm very happy with what Atlanta did there. And just looking back, now we're kind of seeing Terry's draft picks come to fruition. Draft picks are kind of like wine. You got to open it up, let it simmer so that you can see the taste. Like that 2021 case of wine is spoiled. It's rotten with Kyle Pitts. Everything there is kind of fucked up. But everything else, I mean, Terry had one bad batch. Everything else seems to kind of be coming together. The first round picks seem to be okay. And now it looks like he had more control of the draft this year too. So I'm excited to see how those picks pan out. I'm excited that Drake London panned out. Jeff, one last question before we move to our last topic of the day. London in his first 3 years, no Pro Bowls, no All-Pro. And again, we kind of talked about that in the Caden Ellis segment. He could be a victim of us just not being in those big playoff games, not getting that media attention. Do you see that changing in 2025?
If the Falcons make the playoffs in 2025, he's going to be a big part of that. Now, I will say it bodes really well for Atlanta that he doesn't have any of those accolades. He's going to be a lot more affordable than he would have been if he had an All-Pro or a Pro Bowl or any of those things, right? So, selfishly, like I want guys to get paid. Like it's not my money you're spending. Shit, go out and get as much as you can. I'm never going to be that guy that's like, holy shit, we shouldn't give this guy that kind of money. I'll go get every penny you're worth. But I also understand how the NFL works. And the more money we give him, the less money there is to pay other people. So for me, it's kind of a double-edged sword because I love the fact that he hasn't gotten any of that because one, it keeps the chip on his shoulder. He wants to come out and prove that he does belong, and he does. Again, he's a top 10 wide receiver in the NFL. But it also keeps that paycheck a little bit lower so the Falcons can potentially add some pieces as we've talked about the guys they're going to have to pay over the next 4 or 5 years. So, I think it's great because it keeps him motivated. It keeps him humble, keeps him humble, keeps him hungry, and keeps him focused on trying to be the best version of himself. Because again, we can look across the league and we can look at guys who got all that recognition and then all of a sudden felt like they didn't have anything to play for, and it looked like it. Here we are going, year 4 for him. And he still doesn't have any of that recognition. Even last year when he was top 5 in the NFL in receptions and yards, got no love. And so for me, you hate to see that, but you love to see that because now the competitive fire comes out. So for me, if the Falcons do make a run this year, he's going to be a big part of that. And I'm excited for that because he's going to get some of the recognition that he does absolutely deserve.
It's not only that, Jeff. When you recognize that a player has talent, you want to pay them earlier rather than later. It's not about us lowballing London. We're not trying to imply pay the guy $15 million a year. No, give him what he's worth today. Because I promise you, if you wait this thing out, he's entering the last year of his rookie deal. We have exercised the 5th-year option. So he's under our control for at least 2 years. Now, you can franchise him the following year so he could be under our control for 3 years. But why do that? Why put him through that? Let him focus. Let him make Atlanta his home so that he only has his mind on the game. Don't throw distractions at him. This is exactly what the Bengals did to T. Higgins and Jamar Chase. They just caused a freaking circus. They could have had both of them under contract, by the way, for much less money than what they did this past season, and use that saving to, by the way, get Trey Hendrickson under contract. Don't be the Bengals. Follow the blueprint of the Philadelphia Eagles. They pay their guys earlier, get them under contract. Look, Drake London, none of those accolades. I feel bad for him because I feel like he deserves it. But if we can secure him, even for 30 mil a year right now, Jeff, the going rate is going to be a. I promise you, if he goes all pro this offseason, he's going to look for 45 mil the next year.
Yeah, and given where he's at, and you look at where the NFL pay rate for wide receivers is right now, for number ones, you're probably even looking at closer to 50 by the time that these next 2 years are up, right? So you absolutely lock him down at 30, 35 now, because that looks like people will be pissed off about it right now. But you look at the going rate, and the next man up gets the highest one. You'll be really pissed if you're paying him 50. But that's the going rate when you look at it, kind of where we're going to be at in the next 2 years. So yeah, for me, you bite the bullet, sign him now for 30, 35 if you can. And now you've got him under, contract longer, under control longer. And you get the best years of a promising young guy with your franchise. And you don't have to worry about letting a guy get away way too early.
So Terry, if you're listening to this, Caden Ellis, Drake London, before they get too expensive, get these dudes under contract. Oh man, I mean that's the thing that's crazy, Jeff. I put something out there, I think in the right when the offseason started, arguing that we should even have done this before the Jamar Chase deal went through, because I feel like, right now we're talking 30-35 million. If we did this in March, I think that number could have been 25 million.